Would you agree that life is pretty challenging for teens and young adults? There are many social and academic decisions they have to face. Let's think about a couple of those critical academic decisions. The first is deciding which classes to take every semester of your high school years. Most high schoolers have one ultimate goal: to get into the college of their dreams. You've spent your high school career taking the hardest classes you can possibly handle. Sometimes even ones you can't, because that weighted GPA may make the difference between you and that next applicant to your dream college. In the hustle and bustle of tests and projects and AP exams, how many students actually ask themselves, what did I really learn? I'm not talking about science, math, or history. Are you taking classes that expose your learning potential beyond the textbooks? Have you taken a class not just because you're confident you'll do really, really well in it, rather you were so excited by the subject you just had to try it? For some, it might be artificial intelligence, and for somebody else, it might be African literature. Whatever it might be, did you satisfy your curiosity and the need to learn something new? Growing up, I thought I had it all figured out. I knew exactly what I was going to be when I grow up. I was ready. I got really good grades in science and math. And if you're familiar with Hasbro's game Operation, well, it was no match for me. I was going to be a doctor, a surgeon, if I can help it. I started working in a hospital at the ripe age of 16 and joined a pre-med program in college. There was just one problem though. At the end of my freshman year, I got this feeling at the pit of my stomach that something just wasn't right. I no longer had any interest in biology, chemistry, or any other science classes. And some of that showed in my grades. I was hit with the realization that I may not want to be a doctor after all. And worse yet, I didn't know what I would be, period. What decision did I make, or could have made, in high school that would prevent this crisis in college? We'll talk more about that later. The second academic decision for teens is choosing your college and a major. Most graduating seniors choose a college and a major with the presumption of a life path set in concrete based on that one-time decision. In reality, close to 75% of undergrads do change their major before they graduate at least once. According to some recent studies, over 50% of college graduates would choose to change their major given the opportunity to redo college. If you recall where I left off on my story, I was at a point where I had to learn something new. Otherwise, my future would be very uncertain, not to mention unaffordable. So I did it. Coincidentally, I was in college during the dot-com era, so I decided to learn computer science. And wouldn't you know it, I loved it. I graduated with a computer science degree, and like everyone else, I was expecting to become a software engineer or a developer. Except I joined a hardware company and became a systems engineer. I had to teach myself everything I didn't learn in a software track at college. But luckily, there were plenty of resources available, which I took advantage of promptly. I strongly believe that it was because of my aptitude for continuous learning that I was successful in my job as a technology leader. Spoiler alert, you still have complex decisions to make even after college. If there's one thing you can take away from your time in high school, it's this. Everything you have learned up till now is just the beginning of your life journey. For high school seniors, the prospect of college may feel like the end of your education. I'll never have to take another class again in my life, right? But it most definitely is not the end, and it should not be the end. So here's your third decision. Consider the reality of the current job market. Consider that COVID-19 is causing major changes in the job market. Virtually no industry is untouched by this virus. Even STEM-related jobs are impacted. Also consider the reality of today's workplace. Skill sets and tools are changing so fast that the workforce has no choice but to adapt quickly and upskill themselves to be ready for the next wave of whatever is coming. Having to learn new skills is almost inevitable, and only those that are open to that idea will find themselves adapting and succeeding faster than others. So you have to ask yourself, what new learnings will make you better than what you are today? What amount of transferable skills have you developed which you can use regardless of how many times you change your career track? And do any of those learnings give you room to pursue a passion in your life? Halfway through my career, I realized I had an interest and skill in business and leadership, and wanted to find a way to pivot from my technical career path. I became an avid reader of leadership books and leadership biographies. I knew I was lacking some foundational business concepts, so I enrolled in an executive MBA program to fill that knowledge gap. I graduated with an MBA at the young age of 40 and switched career tracks to various forms of business development, strategy, and management. Now, I have this insatiable appetite to continuously learn new things, so I know I'm still not done. For example, today I'm working on my next technical certification because I love technology. There's only one thing that was constant throughout my career. It was change. I truly believe that being fearless in learning is the most critical decision I made that allowed me to embrace that constant change. By the way, fearlessness is a conscious act. It's not just a passive state of being. It requires you to actively choose to do certain things. One of the biggest things is letting go of your ego. One of my favorite authors, Brené Brown, has some great segments on this. If you ever get a chance to listen to her podcast, I highly recommend it. See, ego is a very tricky thing. It prevents you from admitting that you can't move forward in the path that you've committed to. It tries to shame you into a pattern of self-destructive thoughts, like, what will people think? Will they think I'm not good enough? Did I just waste a lot of time and money? Instead of positive things, like, what did I actually learn? And how can I build on that? So fearlessness requires you to actively let your ego go. The second thing is to remain intellectually curious, rather than settling into this sense of achievement that prevents you from discovering new ideas and concepts. You should of course be proud of your achievements, but don't get complacent about your abilities. That's what I mean by being intellectually curious. Curiosity leads to experimentation. See, the funny thing about experimentation is that there's no guarantee of success. You may fail. Fearlessness is accepting failure as one step closer to progress. When I was in high school, I wouldn't have dreamed of having the role I am in today. You know that saying, hindsight is 20/20? As it turns out, I did take a class in high school purely because I was curious and excited by the idea of it. Guess what it was? Business management. I remember not only doing well in it, but also really enjoying it. I didn't even consider it as a major in college and didn't uncover it until much later in life that I really did have a passion and aptitude for it. I don't know if I would have made a different decision in undergrad, but if I could meet the 18-year-old me back then, I would have told her that education is an evolution. It is not a one-and-done situation. High school and college are the best times to explore your learning potential, your capacity to stretch your mind, because you never know what life may bring your way. Had I dug my heels into the pre-med track in college, I would be very disappointed today. Medicine is a highly rewarding profession, but it just wasn't for me. So I learned a new skill in computer science, which surprisingly revealed a hidden strength and opened up so many possibilities that I would never have imagined. But it wasn't wasn't that I had finally settled on a profession that gave me satisfaction. Rather, it excited me to keep learning more and more. What else am I capable of? The more I learned, the more I wanted to continue learning. What does satisfy me is the knowledge that I am fearless in being open to lifelong learning. Thank you.